You know, when you're buying or selling a home, it's so easy to get wrapped up into big stuff, right? The price, the location, how many bedrooms it has. But here's the thing. Some of the absolute biggest risks to your investment are the ones you can't even see. Okay, let's dive into this.
So we're going to pull back the curtain on all those hidden dangers that can lurk in just about any real estate deal. We're talking everything from really complex financial scams to secrets that are, literally buried within the property itself. This is all about arming you with the knowledge you need to protect what is, for most of us, the biggest investment we'll ever make.
Here's a quick look at what we're covering. We'll start with the hidden dangers, then jump into schemes designed to steal your equity. After that, we'll talk about the rules of fair play, what sellers absolutely have to reveal, and we'll finish up with the really juicy stuff, secrets and stigmas.
So let's get right to it. Look, understanding these dangers isn't about being scared off. Not at all. It's about being prepared and making smarter, safer decisions with your money and your future.
First up, let's follow the money, because there are some pretty well-established fraud schemes out there, and they all have one specific goal: to separate you from your hard-earned equity.
The first one is called churning. This is a sneaky one. It's when a lender keeps pushing you to refinance your home over and over. They might dangle a slightly better rate in front of you, but the real goal is to generate a constant stream of fees and commissions for themselves, stripping away your equity with every single transaction.
Next up is chunking, and this is a particularly nasty scheme that targets investors. A scammer will use your good name and credit to buy up multiple properties, promising they'll manage everything. But what really happens is they take a massive fee and just disappear. And you're left holding the bag, with a bunch of overpriced homes, crushing debt, and a totally wrecked credit history.
Now this next one is just wow. The nerve is incredible. Equity theft is when criminals literally steal your house on paper. I'm not kidding. They forge documents to transfer the deed right out of your name, or they take out new loans against your property without you ever knowing. A really common version of this is the so-called foreclosure rescue scam, where they prey on homeowners who are in trouble, promising help, but really tricking them into signing away their entire home. And that brings us to the straw buyer. Think of this person as a stand-in, a front. It's someone who gets paid a fee to let a criminal use their name and their credit to buy a property. The real buyer is hidden in the shadows, and they have absolutely no intention of ever living in the house or making a single payment. So how in the world does this stuff get spotted? Well, lenders are always on the lookout for red flags, things that just don't add up. Like an employer's address is just a P.O. box, the buyer claims are going to have a 2-hour commute each way, or the borrower and their boss somehow have the exact same phone number. One of these might be nothing, but when you see them together, they start to paint a pretty clear picture of fraud. Okay, so the dangers aren't just financial. Beyond the outright scams, there are illegal practices that can unfairly and illegally limit your housing choices. And that brings us to the rules of fair play, the laws that are designed to protect our civil rights in housing.
The journey toward fair housing in the U.S. has been a long one, and it didn't happen overnight. It really started way back in 1866 with a law banning racial discrimination, and from there, protections were slowly added over the decades, piece by piece, to include religion, national origin, sex, disability, and family status. And most recently, gender identity and sexual orientation were added to that list. Two key illegal practices you really need to know about are steering and blockbusting. So, steering is when an agent illegally channels you toward or away from certain neighborhoods because of your race, your religion, whatever. And believe it or not, it's the most common complaint. Blockbusting, which is also called panic peddling, is when agents try to scare homeowners into selling their houses cheap by spreading rumors, usually about a new group of people moving in. Both are totally illegal and are all about manipulating neighborhoods for profit.
Okay, we've covered the financial dangers and the legal dangers. Now let's talk about the physical ones. When you buy a house, what secrets about its actual condition is the seller legally required to tell you?
This is absolutely crucial. Sellers must disclose any known environmental hazards. We're talking about things like mold, which requires professional remediation to get rid of, or radon, which is a totally odorless, invisible gas that needs a special mitigation system to vent it out, and of course, asbestos, which has to be safely handled, usually through encapsulation. The bottom line is, if a seller knows about these things, they have to tell you. Period.
And the list doesn't stop there. Sellers also have to let you know about any other known material facts. And that's just a fancy term for big issues, like problems with the foundation, unstable soil conditions, or if the property sits in a designated floodplain or some other kind of hazard area.
This brings us to our final section, and honestly, this is where things get really fascinating. We're moving beyond physical defects now, and into stuff that's more psychologically impactful. What secrets does a house hold, and what does the law actually say about them?
The legal term for this is a stigmatized property. It sounds a little spooky, and, well, sometimes it is. A stigmatized property is a home where something happened that doesn't affect its physical structure, but it might just affect its value or appeal to a buyer. This could be anything from a murder or suicide happening on site, a reputation for being haunted, or even its proximity to the home of a registered sex offender.
So of course, this leads to the classic question that everybody wants to know. If a house has a reputation for being haunted, does the seller really have to tell you?
And the answer is, it's complicated. It really depends on the state you're in. For something serious like a murder, the disclosure laws are all over the map. And for something like nearby sex offenders, under what's known as Megan's Law, agents are actually forbidden from disclosing that information themselves. Instead, their job is to point you to the public resources where you can look up that information for yourself.
And then there are things that are explicitly 100% prohibited from being disclosed. This quote is straight from the law, and it's crystal clear. An agent cannot, under any circumstances, disclose whether a previous owner or tenant had an HIV-related illness. It's protected information, designed to prevent discrimination. So, at the end of the day, all of this information, from the fraud schemes to fair housing to disclosure laws, it all serves one purpose: to be your shield. Knowing about these hidden dangers and understanding your rights is what transforms you from a potential victim into an empowered, savvy homeowner or investor.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. Armed with this new awareness of all these unseen risks hiding in real estate, the next time you walk into an open house, what's the first question you're going to ask that goes way beyond just the fresh paint and the nice landscaping?